Hey, it's Danny from Carp Global in Preston, and in this video I want to show you real quick the hook sharpening range from Gardner. You will see here we've got the brand new hook stone, which is fantastic. I'll show you that in a second. We've got the point doctor and we've got the eye, and I just want to show you real quick how this stuff works, why you need it, and some of the advantages of having these things. So we all know what a fishing hook is, right? We use these. This is the thing that connects us to the fish, right? This is the thing that we rely on to hook the fish to make sure that it doesn't come off the line when we're playing it, right? So a hook is kind of important. But what happens very often is that anglers neglect, and if I put this piece of card here, you can see the up there, anglers neglect the most important bit, which is the sharpness of the point. And straight out of the packet, most hooks are not as sharp as they can be. Of course, you can get hand sharpened hooks and you can pay sort of double the money. Gardner do a fantastic range of hand sharpened hooks as well, which we've got. But even still, once you've had a few casts or maybe had a fish, the hook point might turn over. And what I mean by turn over is when you look at it, you will see that the hook point has actually gone in a different direction to what it should actually be going. And you may still feel that the hook is sharp, you know, if you stick it in your nail or your finger or something, but only by actually looking at the hook with your eyes can you determine whether the hook needs resharpening, throwing away, or is useful or useless, right? And to look at it with your actual eyes without any glasses or without a magnifying glass, you're still not going to get the true picture. So for like £5, inexpensive, really cool tool, we've got the Gardner eye. And this thing is like 15 times magnification. And when you put the hook, or indeed you can look at knots, you can look at a bunch of different stuff with the eye, right? This helps you to determine whether or not the hook point has been turned over, or indeed needs a little bit of work, right? So you look at your hook or your knots and different things, each cast, you are mitigating those chances of losing a fish. You know when you get those like two bleeps and you hit the rod and there's nothing there, or you get the run and you hit the rod and there's nothing there, or you've got a fish and it comes off within like 2 minutes or 30 seconds of picking up the rod. Chances are it's not hooked properly. A damaged or turned over hook can move position, it can damage the mouth of the fish, and most importantly, will prevent you from hooking the fish because it affects the mechanics of the rig. So what do you do apart from replace the hook? And of course, if you do pull hooks out of the packet and they're not as sharp as they can be, you're never going to have that advantage. If you look up a multitude of famous anglers out there, sharpening hooks is something that all anglers really do, and there's a bunch of tools on the market that help you to do this. I've just got a simple hook clamp here just to hold the hook. I've got the eye from Gardner, I've got the point doctor, and I've got the hook stone, which I'm going to show you in a second. A lot of the other sharpening tools out there, in my experience, having used these things, are inferior. They're not very good, and you can find that the actual stone, the sharpening bit, can snap, or the handles snap, or they're just too small and fiddly to get hold of. Gardner has designed and developed a range of products that helps every angler, whether you're a carp angler or any kind of specialist angler, any angler is using a larger hook. It helps you to stay on top of sharpness and make sure that your rig is performing at optimal performance levels whenever you are fishing. Every cast, you should check the hook. Every fish, you should check the hook. And if you determine by looking at the hook through the eye, if you guys can see the level of magnification there when we kind of get this over the hook itself. I don't know if you guys can see that. That's actually the point of the hook there magnified up, and when you look at it yourself, you'll realise just how much you was actually missing. And the eye retails for like £5. So there's no excuse not to have the eye, because if all this did was catch you one more fish, it'd be worth £5, right? The next little tool, if you've got like, I don't know, bits of dirt on the hook, or it's not like damaged, it just needs a little bit of a polish, is the point doctor. And the point doctor is like, it's not a stone, it's like a rubbery material. You can see I'm bending this here. And what you do with this little tool, basically, it'll last you forever. And, you know, you don't need to, like, ever buy one of these again. All you need to do is just very, very gently just rub the point of the hook like that. And what you'll find is it just takes off a really fine layer of any dirt, any grease, and a little bit of the actual coating of the hook point, right? And what you can do is just polish your hook points you know, this is for hooks that have not been damaged. They might have just been out. They might just be being recast. You might have had a fish on them, but it's still sharp. You've looked at it through the eye. You've determined from your experiment, from determining, you know, whether it's bent, blunt, or whatever, that it just needs a little polish. You can then come with the point doctor. Again, it's about £5, and you can just polish up, remove those little bits of dirt, remove those little bits of grease, get rid of any like bits of dried weed that's stuck on there or anything like that from pulling through the weed beds. And you can kind of go around the hook point and just in your own time, in your own way, just polish that hook up so that the sharpness is maintained. And I've been using these two little tools in my tackle box pretty much every cast for a few months now, and I can tell you, guarantee that your catch rate will improve just by using the eye. Because you look at the hook point, you think, oh man, like it's not supposed to bend this way, and I can see that it's bending this way. Throw the hook out and replace it could make the difference between catching a fish or not, right? So just having the eye in your tackle box gives you an advantage over 90% of other anglers who can't be bothered. Right? If you incorporate the point doctor, you've then got the ability to remove any little bits of grease, dirt, dried on weed, any imperfections, but you can't really grind that tip down, that point of that hook down like you can with the sharpening stone. And I've been using files and stones from a bunch of different companies. Some of them are great, but I've just got my hands on the Gardner hook stone, and this is fantastic, right? It's not cheap, but again, if all that this did was, you know, catch you your personal best or help you catch one more fish or stop losing fish, it would be worth its weight in gold, right? It comes in a nice little protective case, velcroed up so you can keep this thing safe. And the first thing you notice with this is it's really thin, but you've got this handle, which is more like a handle of a spoon. It's stainless steel. It's solid. It's not going to break. And you can hold this firmly in your hand without having to fiddle around or try and be too, you know, things are too fiddly. You can't do what you need to do, right? So if you've got a hook clamp like this and you've got your file, you notice what they've actually done, and if you guys can see this, is it's got two different stones stuck to the handle, right? So you can just about see there one side and then the other separated by the steel. You see that it's sandwiched the steel in between the two different stones. You've got two different grades. See the logo and stuff on there, and it says fine. So this is the fine side. So this side you would use for sort of honing the hook and then perhaps finish off with the point doctor. This is for the more gentle, delicate work after you've done the bulk of the sharpening. For the bulk of the sharpening, you would use the other side, which is a little bit more coarse, and this is literally, you know, a 30-second job, right? So you'd have a look at the hook through the eye, you determine what you need to do. So if it doesn't need sharpening too much, it just needs a clean, just needs a polish, go for the point doctor and you'll be fishing again within minutes. If, of course, you do need to sharpen the hook, you could just take the hook stone and with your clamp, you could just gently sharpen that hook, and literally within 2 or 3 strokes of the coarse side and then moving over to the fine, you will notice just by looking through the eye or by testing the hook, stick it in your finger or whatever, you'll notice a difference in the sharpness. Now, every time you do stick the hook in your nail or you stick it in your finger to test it, you'll blunt it again. That's kind of why you need the eye. But just for the purpose of experimentation and testing the effectiveness of these tools, grab yourself some hooks. Get yourself some old hooks out of your tackle bag that you're probably not going to use again, and deliberately blunt some of these things. You know, like stick them into the side or hit them with something, whatever. Just take the sharpness off the point, and then use your hook stone, your point doctor, and your eye to get these back to, you know, factory sharpness and beyond. There's no excuse for using a blunt hook when you've got the Gardner hook sharpening products. The hook stone is brand new. It's a double-sided, very, very strong, very, very durable hook sharpening stone that is a very high grade. It says on the back, it gives you the information all about this. Obviously, it says made in Sweden, and it's a high precision hooks sharpening tool that can be used to hone amazingly sharp hook points, straight beak point patterns, right? Solid steel handle, flat face, 2 centimeter wide, abrasive surfaces. The honing surfaces are made with 2 different levels of high quality diamond encrusted composite abrasives, and it tells you all about it on the back, right? So this thing is actually diamond encrusted. That's kind of sets this apart from any other tool on the market and gives you an advantage over any angler that you know that's fishing on your venue, right? Because fish might pick up 10 rigs and get hooked once. They pick them up and spit them out. You wouldn't want the fish spitting out your rig, especially if you're fishing one of those pressured waters or you're fishing a water where you know your personal best is spinning around. And ultimately, when you do hook a fish, you don't want it to come off. So being sharp, making sure you are on point, excuse the pun, really, really important. And these tools from Gardner, which are available from us, Carp Global at carp-shop.co.uk, or on the phone, 01772 379 320. These tools are not overly expensive for the performance you're going to get out of them. They'll last you a very long time if they're looked after. These tools will give you the advantage and make sure that your hooks are the sharpest they possibly can be, whether they're out of the packet or they're out of the lake, they've just caught a fish, whatever you've done. Make sure you're checking out the sharpness, checking out any damage, every single cast using the eye. And for, like I said, for the money that you would pay for this thing, it's, you know, worth its weight in gold. You can see the hook there, and when you guys look at this yourself and you zoom in yourself, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If it just needs a polish and a clean and just a little bit of tidying up, then use the Point Doctor. And if you do need to give it a thorough sharpening to get it back to the standard that you trust, then the new hook stone from Gardner is the tool for you. Now, we've got a deal on all of these different items together as a bundle. If you want and pick any of that stuff up, you can see all the details below the video. If you just want individual items, no problem at all either. But whichever way you go, whatever you choose, bear in mind that sharpening hooks is one of the differences that between blanking and catching. Sharpening hooks is one of the things that's going to stop fish dropping off. It's going to make sure that more pickups are converted into fish on the bank, and it's going to make you a lot more confident, especially when you're fishing, you know, in the weed, or you're fishing a tough venue or whatever it is. I just spent like 2 minutes sharpening up one of the hooks on one of my rigs using the tools in front of you, and I can say I've not had a sharper hook with any of the other tools that I've ever used. The hook stone from Gardner is revolutionary. It's not cheap, but again, why would you want to use something cheap to sharpen the thing that's like probably the most important part of your rig? All of these different elements combined, you're looking at about, you know, 37, 40 pounds to get the lot, depending on where you get them from. Obviously, we've got a deal. We think it's one of the best deals available right now. You'd have to check the link or call us for details. But if you get all these bits, put them in your tackle bag and actually take the time to use them, you will see an increase in your catches, and you will see a reduction in the amount of fish you're bumping off, or a reduction in the amount of mistakes. If that sounds good, it sounds like something you guys, this is awesome, then click the link below, give us a ring, check it all out, we'll get this stuff out to you ASAP. But I can't stress the importance of sharpening and checking hooks, especially after recasting or catching a fish. It's Danny Walsh from Carp Global in Preston. Thanks for watching this video. I'll see you on the next one. Look out for more stuff coming from us. And of course, if you do want to pick up any of these deals, any of these items, give us a call or click the link and we will look after you and give you a bunch of extra stuff as well. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye-bye.